Hackers and exposing episodes can mark some of the most famous people and events in the community at a certain point. With hacking becoming such a controversial and debatable issue, and with hackers becoming so much smarter in recent times, the issue can be extremely deep-rooted, with some of the biggest names in the community falling with a huge amount of disappointment and legacy to fall with them. Most lose their credibility after hacking, and even with a second chance they cannot recapture their audience, but some have pushed beyond this and have continued to grow as a result. Today, we're going to be looking at a handful of hackers, how they started, and what happened to them after the community found out about their illegitimacy. Who remembers male Veronica? Male Veronica was one of the most famous hacking cases of 2.0 and 2016. He was a 144Hz player who came out of nowhere and very quickly started beating the hardest demons in the game. His name blew up around the community when he allegedly became the first to beat Betrayal of Fate, an extremely controversial level at the time and one of the hardest demons in the game. He also received a shout out from Truster for becoming the first to beat the Flawless, and as his subscriber base grew, he moved on to harder projects. He became the alleged first to beat Scoop in Hell and began progressing in two old impossible levels, River Styx and Silent Club. His quick rise to power and speed of completion even saw him earn a place in Wabbit and Nicroplay's Quir group. However, after Scoop in Hell, list editors and GS members began to grow suspicious of him. He was not streaming, as some of his movements, especially in Scoop in Hell, seemed impossible. After a lengthy drama with Mail attempting to repress these allegations that were growing against him and attracting bigger names away from his side, he made a slip-up on his write-in replay, which showed irregularities on his taskbar. Eventually, he confessed, and his then 2,000 subscriber audience were shocked and appalled. After a cooldown period, Male Veronica deleted all his old hacked replays and committed to become a new, legitimate player and began streaming too. However, his legitimate achievements of odd, medium and hard demons here and there were a fraction of his hacking days, and his Twitch persona attracted hardly any growth. After a period of irrelevancy, he began exhibiting several personality changes, including one where he changed his name on YouTube to Depressed. And there was even drama with Tosh Deluxe, where he was alleged to be attempting social experiments within the community. He returned to GD at the end of summer in 2017 and restored his YouTube name, but gradually he seemed to phase out Geometry Dash from his channel. Now, his incredibly infrequent uploads have all been non-GD related and his views are hardly any compared to what they once were. In conclusion, despite any initial effort to move past his dark days, Male Veronica's inability to recapture his skills and his infrequent uploads led him to never recover from his confession. Sneaky was a German player who rose up in late 2016 and even got a shout out from Quantum. He beat many demons on 75Hz and was unusually gifted with the ship and the wave for a player who wasn't 144Hz at the time. He gradually began building his profile by beating list demons and top 20 demons, and even verified the Extreme Demon update of Downbase, which announced his name to a lot of the community. However, some began noticing irregularities with some of his videos, early celebrations, odd sounding clicks, and such similar causes for concern. He initially managed to shake these off by recording Discord calls during his replays, but eventually the exposal that Noctafly started was picked up by Endlevel, who made a compelling proof video debunking all his live click videos. He became unusually defensive and aggressive and was claiming to get close on Sonic Wave at this point. Finally, when he verified The Invincible, his own remake, he used that video to quit the game, so to go out as a martyr to his fans. This video divided the community, with many believing him, and around the time he hit 1,000 subscribers. After a while, he resurfaced with a video of himself live playing Reanimation, but this was criticised by Cyrillic. After a while, he did not confess publicly, but changed all the names of his YouTube replays to have hacked in the title. And after announcing that he had a 144Hz monitor, he started live playing levels the way Goodsmile did. In mid-March 2017, he claimed to rebeat Sonic Wave live, but this was off-stream and was debunked immediately for being hacked. Now, he still continues to hack levels and evidently hasn't learned anything, but has begun moving away from GD, and even with 1,600 subscribers, his new non-GD content barely managed to scrape 30 views. To summarise, TheRealSneaky has most definitely never recovered. Nubas was a community idol and god in 1.9 for both playing and creating, compared by many to the likes of Zobros and Neptune. He had unbelievable skill and gained a lot of attention. However, in 1.9 he was exposed in the greatest GD exposing video of all time, the Mute Trolls video that explained hacking to the community. After this, Nubas confessed to hacking basically every big achievement he ever had. His credibility was damaged enormously, but in 2.0 he attempted a fresh start, remaining in the top 100 and top 50 creators for a fair amount of time. He began legitimately attempting levels, and these videos did get a sizable amount of views, with his 3 Rebellion videos clocking over 300,000 between them. On top of this, he also went absolutely viral with his random challenge series, gaining hundreds of thousands of views per video. He was well on his way to 50k and was on the right track despite becoming pretty irrelevant in the community. However, his skill was so lackluster that he just didn't have the drive to finish at any levels. Gradually, his average views to gameplay videos dropped to below 10,000 thanks to the demons being too easy and uninteresting. The only thing keeping him alive was his challenge series. He continued playing random levels into 2.1, but about 7 months ago he stopped uploading on YouTube, and no one has heard of him since. Overall, he most likely could have recovered, but as the community got a lot bigger, he just became more and more detached. His only chance to recover would have been to become a YouTuber like Partition, but instead of that he just walked away, and that is the last we heard. Andromeda was another 1.9 community god, beating several extreme demons including Ice Carbon Diablo X, the Ultimate Phase and Cataclysm well ahead of his time. However, people began to get suspicious, including Zobros and several list moderators. Eventually, he confessed off his own back in one of the most famous confessions ever. At this point, he had amassed 32,000 subscribers and was keen to redeem himself, so he set out to rebeat lots of levels legitimately, mainly Ice Carbon Diablo X. For a while into 2.0, his videos got average views and he beat a handful of medium and hard demons, but in late 2015 he took some content inspiration from Tosh Deluxe and began showcasing semi-AV impossible levels on his channel. These videos clocked around 2 million views between a handful of them, and his channel was growing healthily again. He hit 50,000 subscribers, but he wasn't beating anything particularly interesting. That being said, he was still achieving a lot of views long term from his semi-inactive audience. After this, he fundraised for a 144Hz monitor and set to work rebeating his biggest hacked achievements. The Ultimate Phase, Ice Carbon Diablo X and Cataclysm videos all brought in near on 100,000 views each. He then began to approach 100,000 subscribers very slowly and took a long break due to issues in real life. After his long unexplained absence ended, he returned and began taking on pretty big projects such as 211. A few months ago he announced his retirement from GD, but on the cusp of 100k he returned for a brief period to get himself over the line for the milestone. However, he has not uploaded or seemed that interested since his last layout video in December, so who knows if he'll come back. To sum up, Andromeda did rise above the damage of the confession and recover, but his inactivity will be a big barrier for his channel's growth in the future. Ramo was the first relatively well-subscribed channel to be brought down by Riot when he started his exposing series. However, he was regarded as one of the worst hackers ever with his poorly disguised cuts and inconsistencies on attempts and jumps. After this, his playing career was over. He began testing out parodies, skits and top lists on his channel to find a niche, but it was only really the top lists that got him any decent traffic. He started shitposting and making some skits, some of which gained unusually high traffic, which gave him the brunt of his 12,000 subs. At 9,000 subscribers, he had quite a large personality change and became a lot more cynical and nonchalant in his community skits. His editing also improved greatly too, and while his uploads became very infrequent, the quality of his content increased dramatically. It took him a while, but he eventually hit 10,000 subscribers, but he was still highly inactive. Recently, however, he released a new parody which blew up and clocked nearly 70,000 views, and gave his channel a reasonable sub boost. Few remember when Riot exposed him now, and he's reinvented himself into a semi-well-known skit and parody YouTuber. The verdict on this one is that he did manage to rise above the hate, and he has recovered and progressed since his darker days. Cyclic was the most controversial legend of the game in recent times, who in March 2016 confessed to hacking a massive, well-established dynasty of achievements to Riot. After this, he deleted his new channel which had 14,000 subscribers, and his name was still universally discussed throughout the community. In August 2016, he returned as a legitimate player and streamer. His achievements weren't anything special, but his loyalists pushed him back up to 10,000 subs in no time. Fortunately for Cyclic, thousands refused to accept that he had hacked anything other than the Hell Zone and Sonic Wave, and so his reputation actually took very little damage. He gained a moderate skill increase on 75Hz and became better still when he required a 144Hz monitor, with people appreciating his road to redemption more than anything. After a while, he began creating again and even got back involved with Riot, getting involved with the Sonic Wave Infinity and its upcoming sequel Cosmic Cyclone. Now, he has over 20,000 subscribers and barely 1 million views, an amazing ratio for any YouTube channel, and he has pretty much recovered and all is forgiven. He's more involved with the Korean community than ours now, but he is approaching his highest ever sub tally recorded since back in 1.9, and no one really looks back on his glory days with any negative feelings. Granted, he would be several times bigger if he had never quit or confessed, but he certainly recovered. In conclusion, Cyclic barely had any damage to contend with and quickly re-established his position 3 months after his confession with almost no trouble. So there were a few examples of former hackers who attempted to recover their profiles on YouTube and across the community. A few succeeded and a few failed. I guess the moral is, if you learn from your mistakes and persist, looking past the hate and reputation damage, anything is possible. Unless you're Cyclic, in which case you could just do whatever you want and no one will ever question you. I thank you very much for watching and I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like on the video, and if you're new here, if you could consider subscribing, then it would really help me out. Thanks a lot guys, I'll see you all soon.